Salutations, y'all. So I'm going to share with you today first entry for my series that I've taken from my journals that I call We Do Recover, and from my memoirs I call The Tattooed Truth. This is a journal to myself, and the first one I call Emotional Independence. I finally understand something I used to fight against. No one else has the steering wheel to my heart. I just kept handing it to them. I acted like other people's words had authority in my life, like their mood could decide my peace, like their opinion was a verdict about who I was. And the truth is, nothing ever hurt me more than letting someone else rent space in my head without paying a thing. I gave people emotional permission they never earned. I let disappointment live too close to my identity. I let rejection whisper lies into my thoughts and beliefs about myself. I let being misunderstood feel like a personal failure instead of a fact of life. Somewhere along the way, I taught myself that if someone was unhappy with me, then something must be wrong with me. That was never true. I see now how often I tied my worth to reactions, how much energy I lost trying to manage other people's feelings about me, how many nights I replayed conversations that didn't deserve a second thought. And the hardest thing to realize was this. I wasn't being hurt by them. I was being hurt by my attachment to what they thought of me and what we might have had at one time in my life. I lived as though approval was oxygen, as though silence meant rejection, as though criticism was a prophecy. I kept waiting for people to become safe when what I really needed was to be strong for myself. I kept trying to control how I was seen when I should have been protecting how I felt inside about myself, not how they saw me or thought about me. So today, I draw a line in my life. I decided to do something different. I will no longer give emotional power to people who haven't proven themselves trustworthy. I will not allow insecurity to call the shots. I will not let temporary opinions carry permanent weight. I am not an emotional donation center. Not everyone deserves access to my heart. Not everyone gets a vote. Not everyone gets a voice inside my head. I am learning to watch people, not absorb them. Their moods are not mine to manage. Their anger is not mine to carry. Their disappointment in me is not always my burden. Their silence is not a lifelong prison sentence. I release myself from the responsibility of being understood by everybody. Peace does not come from control. Peace comes from clarity. And clarity tells me this: my job is not to impress. My job is to live in truth. The moment I stopped chasing validation is the moment I started walking like I belong. I don't need permission to be who I am. I don't need applause to exist. I don't need agreement to stand firm. I will ask to be forgiven, but that doesn't mean that they have to forgive me. So I choose to live with integrity. Integrity sounds quieter than insecurity. It doesn't panic. It doesn't beg. It doesn't prove. It's simple. I am no longer negotiating my work. I don't have to convince. I don't have to perform. I don't have to explain myself into exhaustion. I just have to be honest. I used to feel like life was happening to me. Now I recognize I've been happening to life. I breathe differently now. I make choices based on alignment, not approval. I speak from truth, not fear. I walk away without guilt when something costs me my peace. And that's the biggest shift of all. I choose peace over permission. I choose self-respect over self-doubt. I choose strength over overthinking about every conversation and situation. I will no longer shrink to make other people comfortable. I refuse to live in emotional debt to people who will never pay it forward. From this point forward, I am the gatekeeper of my inner world. Not everyone deserves access. Not everyone gets a say. Not everyone gets a seat in my emotional table. I finally understand this is not selfish. It is survival with dignity. It is loving myself without needing applause. And tonight, I sleep knowing one thing clearly. No one controls my feelings anymore. I do. Thank you for listening.